Hello, today is May 25th, 2019. We'll go over our calls in just a minute. First, I want to say for the next couple of weeks, I have personal business. I'm still going to try to do a video every night. I'm just not going to have as much time to look at things as I normally do. And anyone who wants to risk any money on the videos is going to have to bear in mind I'm not going to have as much time to do my analysis. Okay, well, we looked for a gap outside the day's range, which is what we got. We said if my guess that the low was in was going to be right, that we should gap over 28.32.25 in futures, which is what we did. And we said if that were to happen, that we thought recent lows would not be undercut. So far, so good. This is the pattern with the early low. And next Tuesday, when we reopen, we're going to have a pattern with the early low once again, with pretty similar change in trend times. I got a few emails telling me that this was the pattern with the early high. It's not. If you look back here, this is a clear low to high pattern. The lows on time, the highs on time. The counter trend moves down. The standard scenario with the high of day coming either near the close or the following day's open works. And every 32 calendar days, the change in trend times and the pattern is pretty much the same. And if that's a pattern with an early low, this pattern's an early low. It just isn't anything else. Here are the MEJT signals from Friday's trading. It said this low would mistakenly retrace, this high was false, and that low was false. We've had all the retracements. Nothing new for Tuesday. If we were going to keep on dropping, this was a great chance for the bears to make their case, because all we had to do to signal a drop was to avoid this big gap up. There's more than one way to interpret Friday's pattern. My preferred way is that we dropped all day long and couldn't take out the lows for 2 days straight. It means that after the early action of the amateurs, the professionals who trade later in the day aren't willing to let these lows hold. With 5 minutes left to trade, and this last 5 minutes doesn't really mean much to me, the close was over all the lows despite the fact we were dropping all day long. I'm interpreting this as positive action and look for higher prices when the market resumes Tuesday. Once again, I don't know where the open's going to be Tuesday, and when I guess wrong on these things, we'll gap smartly in the undesired direction. So if we do gap down, not what I'm expecting, the call's canceled. I don't have to cancel calls if I wait until just before the open to make them, but it's no difference if I wait before the open and say there's no call, or I say now if we gap down, there's no call. So if we don't gap down, it looks for higher prices. Well, here's how I'm counting this huge rally, which is now over 10 years old. You'll notice we've had some sizable drops here, but they've all been in the corrective waves. In wave 1 and 3, the drops really haven't been too big. And if you make the leap to say wave 5 is going to be similar in character to waves 1 and 3, which isn't a huge leap, but isn't a hard fast rule, I don't look for drops here to be too big either. Let's focus in on where we are. Here's a close-up. We have 5 waves up. Our guess, repeat guess, is that this is wave A, and that's the retest. And if I'm right, there should be a B. Here's our inverted and diamond on stilts pattern. Here's your stilt. Here's a diamond. There's no requirement that we get a stilt up, but it happens a high percentage of the time. It doesn't happen 100% of the time, but if we gap up smartly in the overnight session, the origin of the left stilt is where there's support and resistance. So at least that's a price to look for if we gap up smartly. Here's my current count. Here's what I'm viewing as a retest, and we're now in wave gray C up. It's not the only way to count things, and if we start dropping here under this, then the count fails. But for right now, that's what I'm assuming, and if we gap up Tuesday, I'm sticking with this count, and if we gap down, then I'm going to have to look for something else. So when we reopen Tuesday, we're looking for higher prices, strong likelihood of gapping up, perhaps very strongly. We view this action as inability of the pairs to hold on to the lows on a retest of this month's low. Look for higher prices, possibly with a gap up hitting around 28.60. But as always, if we gap down smartly, the call's killed, and I freely admit that's not the only way to interpret the pattern. That's my preferred. That's the plan that I have now. And if we gap up smartly, I'm sticking with it. And if we don't, then probably something else is going on. Everyone have a good holiday weekend. That's today's call.